Oy. Okay, so the Gemara in Brachos in the 9th chapter and the whole thing about dreams. Okay, it says over here in the bracket. Okay, it says this. V'ha'amar Rabbi Zera. Surely didn't Rabbi Zera say, "Kol halan shiva yamim below chalam"? Whoever sleeps for 7 days without having a dream, nikra ra, is called evil. Shne'amar v'sabeh yalin bal yipaked ra. He will rest sated and not be visited with evil. Al tikra saveh ela sheva. Don't read it sated, rather 7. Okay, so how does that work with the pasuk? Go down to the little art scroll note. Thank God for him. The alternative vocalization is allowed by the spelling of sheva written as it is without vowelization. The verse is thus reads as saying this: if he rests for 7 days and is not visited with a dream, he can be considered evil. Okay, so basically, this is really all the sources I wanted to say for tonight, because that's a wild statement. Whoever has 7 days without a dream is called evil. Whoa! I thought, growing up in life, without being Jewish, if you just kind of do what you're supposed to do and are nice to people, right, and do the right thing, then you're a good person. So when we have Judaism that comes to teach us, there's mitzvos, there's averos, there's good things to do and there's bad things to do. And if you do those things and stay away from bad things, then you're good. But Reb Zeir says, no. You're still not good. If you don't dream once a week, you're evil. So the Gemara, always says extreme things to teach us a certain lesson. So this whole shir is about it's about the theme of sleeping and dreaming and yearning that really emerges in Adar and in Purim, and sort of it's one of the major themes of the holiday. And we're going to talk about dreaming a bit. But I don't think it means specifically a dream, although it does also. But it also means to desire something greater than what you see here in this world right now. Okay? Is that okay? Cool?
Beautiful.
What is the Hebrew word? The Hebrew word what is the word that he uses? The chalom.
Chalom.
So chalom means
is a dream.
Dream.
Look, this sugya in the Gemara is talking about dreams. That's what it's talking about. That's the Pashup Pshat. If you don't have a dream, But we'll see.
Is there a barrier there between what we think is a dream and what the Gemara thinks is a dream? You know what I'm saying?
I think the Pashup Pshat is a dream, yeah. I mean, because the Gemara has all these lists of weird dreams that happen to people, and sometimes we have them too. It's not. I've had people tell me, "Oh, I had this dream that the Gemara talks about." Same thing. But also, what it means to dream is to to envision a world different than what you see. Yeah. Okay. So, how does this go? If you go to the next page here, look at the bottom. This is from Tzadok here. Sefer Yetzirah. So the Sefer Yetzirah Sefer Yetzirah tells us the building blocks of the world and tells us it lays out the letters that are associated with each month and the senses that we fix each month. And there's actually machlokas about Adar. What is the sense that we're fixing? So he says here, Sefer Yetzirah it says that God made the letter Kuf king over sleeping, Adar b'shana, and then he created with that the month of Adar in the year. Okay? That's the Girsa Gaonim. That's what's the Girsa of Sefer Yetzirah by the Gaonim. Sefer Chakmoni. So according to the Girsa of the Gaonim, the last sense that we fix of the year is sleep. So Adar is associated with sleep. The Girsa Harizal, but the Harizal has a different thing, is Os Kuf B'Schok. Harizal says that actually the sense associated with the month of Adar is laughter. Or schok is playing around,
do you know what some of the other kind of senses? Because they're not the way we
hearing, seeing, all the stuff that you normally think about. Yeah,
laughter and sleep and
yeah.
Okay.
All our experiences in a way. our basic human experiences, I guess, right?
Like is sadness, is that one? Like what's?
I don't think sadness is one. What are the other ones?
Doesn't exist, sadness. Right?
There you go. Yeah.
Happiness, on the other hand.
When do you think sense of smell was on there?
So actually, I think in the Arizal, he gives that each part of the head is associated with a different month, and the part of the head that's associated with Adar is the nose.
Right.
Yeah. So that's a sense of smell. The truth is, we could give smelling. Yeah, that's what we talk about all the time. That's right. Yeah. So he gives here both, and he says, of course, they're both right. They're both related to each other. Okay, but we're not going to talk about that now. What we're going to talk about is this idea that Adar is fixing the concept of sleep. Okay, and of course comes to its ultimate place on Purim.
It's all over the Megillah.
Oh yeah, the main theme of the Megillah is sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but but you'll see these two next sources that play out a lot in Tzadok and Sod Yesharim. These two next things we're going to look at right now that have to do with sleeping, and then we'll see the Rambam, and it's going to be fun. Okay, yeah. Okay, so you go to the next page. This is from Medrash Rabbah, and look. This is what the Medrash and the Gemara play off this verse a lot. Okay, and if you look at this verse on the top, it says Vayomer Haman LaMelech Achashverosh. So Haman said to Achashverosh, Yeshno Am Echad Mefuzim Meforad Ben Ha'amim. There's certain people scattered and dispersed among the peoples. B'chol minos malchusecha v'datzahem shonos, in all the countries in your kingdom, and their laws are different. Mikol Am from our nation, ve'es datzei HaMelech eina mosim. They don't listen to what the king wants. Aval HaMelech ein shov ela hanicham, and therefore it's not befitting for the king to tolerate them. Okay, so already the bells go off because the Melech is God, of course, So what does the Medrash say? It says, Vayomer Haman Yeshno Am Echad. So the Medrash says there's a certain people, Yeshno Am Echad, Oso Shneimar Bo Hashem Echad, Yashen Lo Me'amo. The one of whom it is stated God is one is sleeping. Yashen, Yeshno. Okay? God is sleeping. Amar Lo HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Ani ein lefan Hashem. But so God said back to Haman, okay, there's no such thing as sleep before me. How do they sleep? It says God doesn't sleep or slumber. You're saying that there's sleep before me? From the sleep, I am awakened and I destroy that person from the world. Okay? And it says the Lord awoke like one who's been sleeping. Okay? So Haman says, right, so he's playing, of course, on the other part of the verse, is saying that they're not listening to the will of the king, to the law of the king. That's the second one, rather. Excuse me. He's playing more on the Hashem Arbo Hashem Echad. For the nation who said that God is one, he's sleeping. God has abandoned the Jewish people. So now we can get the Jewish people because God is not protecting them anymore. But God says, no, don't worry. I might be, he even says, I don't sleep, but I'm gonna awake and destroy you like I awoke from sleep. Okay?
Is the Am Echad, is that from when he says it, Am Echad?
Yeah, that's where the Medrash plays, that says that God is one. Right, that's how the Medrash plays off the Echad.
Cool.
The person of whom is said is one is sleeping. God has abandoned us. Okay? So that's one way of what Haman is complaining. Saying that God is asleep, so now I can get the Jews. But on the Gemara it says, also on the other side, it says, Yeshno HaMecha, you see in the brackets there. There's no one who knew how to say such terrible things like Haman. Amarle Tanech Linhu. Han said, "Come, let us destroy the Jews." Amarle Mistaifna Elohav the Lord Levad Ki Bi Kidaavid Kamai. I'm afraid, though, that God, of their God, that He should not do to me as He did to my predecessors. So Achashverosh was when Haman told Achashverosh to kill we should kill the Jews. He says, "I don't know. Paro didn't do so well, so I don't know if that's a good idea for me." So he says, no, Haman said, Yashnu min ha-mitzvos. They've been negligent of their mitzvahs, but they're sleeping from their mitzvahs. They're not doing what they're supposed to do. All right, so that's playing on the part of the verse that says, and they don't listen to the will of the king. Right, they're not listening to God. So if that's the case, then we can get rid of them because their connection to God is gone. But either way you look at it, maybe he's saying also Dir Chaim is saying, the Jewish people have abandoned their commandments and what they were supposed to be doing. So they're sort of they've abandoned themselves and they're asleep, and God has abandoned them too, and He's not watching. So now is the perfect time to destroy them. Okay. So the odd thing, which I thought about when I saw this Rambam originally, which is, it seems like on Purim we're supposed to go back to sleep again, even though that was like a bad thing.
Bad state.
That was like a bad thing to do, according to Haman, which was like, now that God is sleeping, the Jewish people are sleeping, now I can kill them. So what do we do, according to the Rambam, which we'll see? Let's go to sleep. So that's like kind of, that's a little strange, I think. I believe, right? So he says here, how do you have a party on Purim? Okay, you see in the back brackets there in the Rambam in Tesvav, how do you have a Purim party? We don't know. We're trying to figure it out, so maybe the Rambam can help us. We don't know where to have it. So you should eat meat and have a nice suda, as you can afford. And you drink wine until you get drunk, and you fall asleep in your drunkenness. So a lot of people think that's what the Ramah says. It's similar to this, but it's not the same thing. The Ramah says in Shulchan Aruch that if you're not gonna, whatever the halacha is, if you're not gonna get drunk, drink and then go to sleep. But the Rambam says you should get drunk until you fall asleep. You should pass out
in your drunkenness.
So which is go to sleep. Which to me is a little strange because we just saw that it was through sleep we were almost destroyed forever. Okay? So what's the deal? Are we going to sleep? Are we trying to wake up? What are we trying to accomplish on Purim? Okay? So we continue here. So maybe holy sleep is not what we think it is. Because normally, when you see a person sleeping, it's as if they're first of all, they're not active. They're not doing it. They're not accomplishing anything. It looks like they're dead. The Gemara says it's 1/60th of death. And they look like they're without purpose. Right? Okay? So normally that's the way we think of sleep. And also when you think of someone who's depressed, one of the symptoms you'll see is they're sleeping all day and they can't get out of bed, etc. And I've been thinking about this a lot too because personally I don't have the best relationship with sleep that a person should normally have. But and I feel like a lot of people here also don't have the best relationship with sleep.
Yes.
Maybe I'm wrong.
Thank you.
Am I wrong?
You're right by me.
It's a complicated thing, sleeping, going to bed on time and then waking up early. And it's something I'm trying to teach my son. And let me tell you, he's a chassid. I read the article in Rav Berland. I'm he's like Rav Berland. He's up all night and he sleeps for 2 hours in the morning. Yeah. That's why also I was very interested in this subject. So Tzaddik says a lot on this topic, and I'm not sure if hopefully we'll be able to fix our sleeping during this month. So Tzaddik says, he picks up on the pasuk quote from Tehillim in that medrash, and God woke up like he was sleeping, Gibor, like a strong person, misronen miyayin, screaming and dancing from wine. Okay? Okay? So when you're completely submerged and shikuas, subsumed within the world, so that's called when you're just stam drunk with wine. Okay? Now, what's up with that also? One second. As it says that that it was grapes that Chava like fed him, and actually squeezed them, sachta, the Medrash says, and made wine for him, basically. And that was like a chait for him. That people, he says the umos, but we do it too, is like, sometimes we try to forget certain things about ourselves in order to do something bad. Like, we do it ourselves, but it's so much more pronounced like in TV, I think, because whenever like in SVU last week, this guy's about to cheat on his wife, so he's like, all right, we better have a drink right now, because he doesn't want to think about his family or his life or whatever, So in order to do that, he can forget about that, and then he could be completely consumed by this Yetzer Hara, basically, and we do it too, to help us do what our desires want us to do. But so that's like the bad type of drinking. Okay, but there's another type of drinking. There's the holy drinking. But they stay in that state. But the Yidden, what happens when they're drunk? It can be that they're awakened. That in a sense it's like they're asleep, but they're also, they wake up. Okay. The Gemara says that they are appeased through their wine, and they get a certain das of their creator. Okay? I don't think the Gemara is saying it's like this is what's going to happen necessarily. It's like if we do it right, in a time of Purim, etc., and even other times, because this Gemara does not say in Purim, it says stam. If we do it right, we can get das konam. We can get an inner das understanding of our creator. V'das nikra hasaga sheb'pnimis v'helam. So what's das? Das is it's hasaga sheb'pnimis v'helam. It's internal. It's an internal and sort of private understanding and connection. Like we say with Adam Akava, Adam Yada. It's knowing someone intimately that's not revealed. Okay, kita Moshe milga'o. As the Tikkun says about Moshe, he had das and he was internal milga'o. And this das, this is the divine spirit. This is divine inspiration. So what is this? What is this Ruach HaKodesh? It's this understanding that's hidden, that's revealed when the soul is connected in its source. Okay? So on the outside, I don't know what it looks like. I don't know if he's asleep. I don't know if he looks like an idiot and he's drunk, but there's something that's awakened within him that's connecting him to his source and his beginning. And even in the sleep and in the drunkenness, they are completely in truth connected to their beginning, but you don't see it. So Yid on Purim, he looks like complete weirdo, whatever. He looks like he's a guy, he's a woman, woman's a guy, but he is completely connected on the inside, internally, to his creator. And this is awakened, right, in the drunkenness and in the sleep. Okay? So Reb Tzedek goes further. Okay, let's turn the page. And at night, there's something called the dream. Okay? And this is 1/60th of prophecy. V'shlomo HaMelech and Shlomo HaMelech, in his dream, was zocha to his chachma and to the entire Torah Sheba'al Peh. Whoa, what? He got the whole Torah Sheba'al Peh in his dream? So I actually looked at the Psukim, that's what it says. I will see on the next page, it said that he was sleeping, and he had a dream, and he asked God, can I have chachma? And God said, sure, you can have chachma. And it's like, oh, he was dreaming. No. He said, this is an avoda. This is something that we can do. This is what we're supposed to be doing. This is the drunkenness of Purim. And not just that, he was zocha to Torah Sheba'al Peh, the whole thing. Whoa. Okay? He was zocha to receive the entire Torah Sheba'al Peh, or Torah Sheba'al Peh shenos and Hashem Yisbarach matana. It's a gift. Right? It's a wealth of knowledge from God. Okay? And right, because why is it a gift? Because you're sleeping, so you can't do anything about it, really. you're giving yourself up to God, right, when you're asleep. You're saying,
You're vulnerable.
You're vulnerable. You're vulnerable, and also you're saying, I can't do anything anymore. I've done what I could today, and now, honestly, I just have to go to sleep. Because I'm giving up to God. And we say, B'yachav ki ruchi before I go to sleep. God, I'm giving you my ruach to you. And what can you get in the dream? When you're vaunting yourself like that, is you get the whole Torah. Right? And this is what it says in the Psukim. I was actually shocked by it, because so you read these things and you're just like, oh yeah, he was dreaming, so he had like a nevuah. It's like, no, that's the avoda of dreaming, of sleeping, really. And it says in the Psukim, "Given nira Hashem l'shlam b'chalom, and given God revealed to Shlomo in a dream, and God said, what do you want? And I'll give it to you." And when I read that, I thought of Kol Poshi Ad Nostin Lo. We say that whenever a poor person asks on Purim, if he sticks his hand out, you have to give it to him. And all the Rebbes say that means that if you ask God for anything on Purim, also he gives it to you. Why? Because you're in a dream. Because you're not really conscious in your day-to-day binary way of looking at things. And you could have whatever you want. And then you have Nasat Lavdacha Leiv Shomei Lishpot as Amcha Lahavin Bein Tov L'Rav, and I'll give you this heart to understand and to judge your people. And you go down, and God gave it to him. Shlomo asked for it in the Psukim above, to have knowledge, and we gave it to him. You asked me in a dream to be a smart person, to judge your people, so I'll make you the smartest person ever. Okay? And then it says at the end, 15 on the bottom, and he woke up, and it was a dream. And he made a little drinking party at some l'chaims over there also. Because why? I think because he understood, he got it from this bechina of drunkenness and dreaming. Okay, so the thing, why is it so much that we could be zocha to such a high light when we're sleeping or when we're drunk, So I thought of a couple of possibilities. I mean, of course, I brought what Rav Kook says, which is what I say, but much better and more, etc. But I was thinking, when you're dreaming, strange things that if you saw in the world, you'd be like, "Yo, what are you doing here? You can't be here. You live in another country." You don't think that in your head when you're dreaming. You're just like, "Oh, hey, what's up?" It's completely normal to you. And when you're drunk, also, it's like you could be the meekest guy in the world, but if you're really drunk, you'll see this guy just talking to all the girls at the party like it's no one's business. You know what I mean? Right? Why? Because why is that? Because certain barriers are broken down when you're in these states of mind. That all the assumptions you have about yourself, about the world, is gone. And everything is possible. Anything is possible at that moment. Okay? I have some weird dreams sometimes. Where, I think I had a dream with Tully once, and I was like, you live in another part of the country, but when I saw you in the dream, it wasn't weird. Right. I was just like, "Hey, Tully, what's up?" And we were chilling it was no one's business, But maybe the truth is if we actually do have souls, hopefully, and if our souls are much bigger than our body and eternal and fill the whole world, etc., then why can't we be hanging out? Even if your body is another country, another part of the world. Maybe we can.
Yeah.
But I assume we can't, because that doesn't make any sense to the way I see the world.
But in a dream it makes
sense. In a dream it makes perfect sense. Because all the assumptions of reality are gone. I think that's why. Right? I even had a dream once of the Lubavitch Rebbe. He's not alive. So maybe he is alive. Right? He's alive. Whatever. It's not important. Yeah. Right. But you see, so in this state of mind, right, and in this consciousness, so maybe if you ask God for something, and you stopped assuming things about your friends, and maybe you could have a deeper relationship with God or your friend than you could ever have before, because you've taken away all these things that maybe aren't true at all. Okay. Well, why do you think dreams are so cool? Maybe that's my question to you. You know, what do you think?
What was the question?
They're up.
Why do you think like Shlomo Melech was zocha to the whole Torah Sheba'al Peh in a dream? You know, what is it about dreaming and being drunk that can bring us to this like exalted state? You know,
Dreaming like has like implications for who we are as people. Like as in terms of
Whoa.
what we dream for, is a partial definition of who we are as people. Like, do we aspire? What do we aspire to? What do we dream to? And, like, you know, what do we look forward to? So it's almost like a reflection of who we really are. It's what we produce in our dreams.
So it's like more real in a way than what we.
It's a level of reality it's a sublime level of reality that's just, you know, it reveals something that's completely beneath the surface to us. Just I haven't drank a lot actually. Why don't you tell me?
Alright, don't tell me more than
Yeah.
it is, please.
But no, I was reading some shit. I'll try to fork it out tonight. But no, but seriously, I dream awake. I walk in the streets and I'm mamish. I think of Mashiach every day.
So I think that's what the Gemara is saying.
Yeah.
That's what the Gemara is saying. Like you have to think about these bigger things, right? Than just like what you have to do to get through the week to get to Shabbos. You know.
You have to be like it's like a balancing act of like any day like living with the like for me like big part of being Jewish is just like living with the impossible every single day and like thinking the impossible every single day. Like things happened in our history that just were frankly impossible in terms of historical possibility, and like we still walk around here with these yarmulkes on and we think that it's like stam. It's not stam. Like we're living in possibility, and we should walk around and we should think every day. Did we try for the impossible today? Did we strive higher and higher to be better and better? So I think it's a big part of the avoda.
Yeah.
It's like not even dreaming when you sleep. Like walk the streets. There's a dream happening now that we don't even realize it's happening. There's a dream outside in America. There's a dream outside in New York City. There's a dream in the world today that if Avram Avinu saw what was going on today, he would crack up. He would crack up. If he saw there was a UN today, he would flip a nut. He would say, "What the hell? There's a UN? They actually bought into what I was talking about 4,000 years ago? There's a UN?
Yeah.
There's what? There's people
So this is what Rav Kook says, basically, like in two sources. This is basically what Rav Kook says.
He would have went. No, he could go nuts if he was walking the streets. He said, "Never thought they would try to go even buy vision." What?
Right.
That's crazy. That's ridiculous. I'm serious. This is my house. I'm going to say what I want.
Yeah, so that's what Rav Kook is going to say, like in two or three sources, basically, which is something like that, which is like, it was the dreamers in our people and in the world that made the world a better place and will really bring us to Mashiach and change the world to turn into that dream. Okay? And there are certain people in the world who are telling you, like, that dream's impossible, it's not possible, that's Haman.
Don't stay away from that. That's the New York Times, right?
Well, whatever. I don't know. I love the New York Times.
But like that's but there's a drudge in the world that says like
there's a force in the world saying
stick to reality, stick to what's
exactly
visible.
That's right.
Don't believe in the impossible.
That's right.
And Taka, we're here to disprove that. That's
right.
Just like I think that's like a big part of the
And the facts at the time was the Jewish people are not keeping the mitzvos, they're not so holy, and it's 70 years since God was supposed to bring him back to the Jerusalem, and they're not there. So, the facts on the ground is it's over.
Right.
You know?
The facts on the ground is
a
nation that experienced what we experienced in Europe 50 years ago would never have a rebirth in Eretz Yisrael.
There you go.
A rebirth of culture and Torah. And no. We would never think. Except for like...
Rafi, are you gonna... what was that?
Well, so you're saying before that when we dream... It's obviously you can't have the whole part of whatever the soul's compartments are within us, but when we sleep, there's a level of a departure of the soul, right? And it's amazing that even within this lacking of soulness, we have even more exalted visions.
In the vacuum.
Yeah, in the vacuum.
Keli Lama Zaftani.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
And also...
That's what you said,
Yeah. And also that, like, in the inactivity of sleep, there's even greater activity.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
What's going on in that activity here, or in the Megillah when they're talking about,
We'll see in a second. Maybe in 20 minutes. If that's okay.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also, also I was thinking.
Yeah.
Sorry, that the mazel of Adar is Dagim,
Yeah.
and they say that Dagim don't sleep. So I don't know how that fits in,
So
but
their eyes are always, they don't
whatever.
blink. They're always, yeah.
So whatever.
Or they're always sleeping.
Or dreaming awake, or they're always sleeping.
Or there's no difference
Or maybe-
between awake and sleep.
Yeah.
Can
They
you
got
imagine-
to the Madriga of
Oh,
Mashiach,
yes,
which
yeah.
there's no difference between the dream and the reality. Something like that.
Yeah, anywhere, even in sleep, right? Nothing.
Also, I think something that you were touching upon for sure is the idea of vulnerability. And that going to the bathroom and sleeping are like two uncontrollable processes of an animal and a person and any human being. And ultimately, I remember hearing from Rabbi Shor Ashuri. He said a person without sleep is like a house without doors. That it's like it totally. Sleep is like surrounded around vulnerability, and it's just, I guess, something that I was interested in what you were saying about like how it ultimately allows for the greatest das to take place. But like you were saying, a part of Purim is removing das, removing das to rebuild it in a way.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I would say, but I mean, over the years we've like given different paradigms of this. So like every night we have a different paradigm. So I guess the paradigm for tonight would be something like it's removing the das of what you think is das to a higher one.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Something like that.
Right.
Yeah, by wrecking your mind with wine and whatever else you need. Okay.
Phone, no, just this
So-
Yeah.
But I still don't. Something I still don't understand is why is this unique to Purim?
Yeah, so we're gonna... So the Sod Yesharim is like the guy who sort of talks about that later on, that we'll get to, but I think it has to do with what I was saying a little bit, which was that the sense of sleep, which when you look at sleep as a stupid thing that's like kind of necessary, and it's when you're vulnerable, is when the Jewish people were vulnerable in a historical perspective and in a religious perspective.
Right.
That they weren't doing what they were supposed. They were not doing anything.
So could it be any time they were vulnerable? There's really like a bchina of Purim.
Absolutely. I think that's 100%. That what Rafi spoke about a lot last week was saying that it's all about the Aniyim. Purim's all about the Aniyim, and which is they're the most vulnerable people in the world. They have nothing.
So like it's taco.
Yeah, and which were the Jewish people were at the time. If we feel like Nechtam, I don't know if it's in the sources here, but it's like later on in the sources. It says Nechtam beTabas HaMelech means that we thought that God signed it because we were not doing what we were supposed to be doing. So
We slept in at Har Sinai also. It's
Gewalt. Yes, we did. We're gonna get to that.
yeah, sweet.
Yeah, I can't stop to get there. So I'm gonna tell you that
Okay.
actually Rav Itchemeyer says that the reason we stay up all night on Shavuos is to sleep in the morning when the Torah was given, because that's when we accept the Torah, is when we're sleeping in the morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
It definitely happens.
Yeah.
Everybody's doing Makers of Torah.
Yeah.
You can sleep in the morning without staying up all night.
Yeah. So he says. So this helps everyone. Okay. I didn't bring that in the sources, but we'll see in the Sod Yesharim that that's a big part of it. Yeah. Yeah. Because the opposite of what everyone told me my whole life.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe
Oh,
you
because you
shouldn't
shouldn't
stay
be
up.
sleeping. Oh.
So maybe don't stay up.
Yeah.
So
It's like no, sleep in the holiest way, and then the Torah.
like imagine like that's the best type of sleep. You've been up all night learning Torah.
Best.
What
Yeah.
could be better?
Exactly.
like,
Then you sleep like a
you
kid.
pass out. Right?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
So Isaac, I
Yeah.
was saying that like when we lose our vulnerability, when we expose ourselves to sleep and we make ourselves vulnerable, therein we create something that can allow Hashem even more into our lives.
Absolutely. Yeah. Also, when we think we're the man and we're doing everything, the reality is we're not. And that's when we push God out of our lives. But when we make a vessel of ourselves and saying, I don't know anything, I'm vulnerable. The only person that can save me right now is God. When you're in that position, Anyway,
All right. I like it.
yeah. But then you allow him to, that's another Sod Yesharim that I want to bring in, but enough time. That he was the Ishbitzer's grandson, Gershon Chanach of Redzin.
Oh, that's it.
Big chutzpah. Yeah, he had a lot of chutzpah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he wrote like what the Yerushalmi would look like if it was written on certain sections that it wasn't written on. You know?
Well.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
People were pissed at him. He was like, "What do you think you are?" You know? And then he like,
I'm so sure.
yeah, exactly. But he was like, I could find the tchelas. I'll just learn science and I'll do the history books and I'll find it. And he did.
He's the one that did the.
Yeah, he was the guy.
Squid. He was a squid.
He was a squid guy. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very cool.
Yeah. And also, like, he really was like, yeah, my grandfather's antinomian. I'm gonna be freaking antinomian. I'm not gonna try to hide it. You know, like all his Torahs are about that.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, the food. Rav Kook. Anyway, so these are from Rav Kook Shal Shudas Torahs. I had no idea these existed until I saw him quoted in B'tzal Na'or in this book called Shmuas Re'ayah. We'll try to go. No, this is from Otzer HaChachma, but I saw it quoted in one of B'tzal Na'or's books. So, according to our understanding, hapoel, the action, is more important than the koach, which is the potential. Okay, that's what we think. Because the action that's revealed, but he says, nah. The truth is, the potential is greater than the action. Okay. Sorry, I skipped. Because when it comes into action, zekvar, it's lower than it was before. It lost something when it's come down into the action. Okay? And this is what we say every day. And he says this is the way we feel when we speak. A lot of times, like, we want to tell someone we love them so much, and we want to tell them how much they mean to us, or like write someone an email or like a letter or something like that. And then like we say it, and it's like, really I felt a lot more than what I said or what I wrote. Right? Because when you say it and you read it, it loses a little bit. I remember from my bris speech, when I was thinking about what I was going to say, I was like getting really worked up, and like very emotional. And then like, so I was like, I can't do this at the bris, so I have to write it down. So I wrote it down and I read it, and I'm like, all right, fine, no problem. Because it loses it. It honestly does, when you try to like concretize what you're feeling. Okay, that's why we have Purim, so we don't have to worry about that. So we say every day in davening, we say, may the thoughts of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart find favor before you, God. The thoughts of the heart, what you think and what you're feeling is much higher than what you're saying to God. Because what you're saying, it's mitzamdim, it's like constricted from what you were feeling. That's why we need to ask for both. Asking God, please, like, I know I said what I'm saying, but like also I have all these, like, it lost a little bit about what I was feeling, about what I wanted to say to you. So like, please God, like, find that part favor, even though I didn't even say it. Okay? That's why we need to say the pasuk every day in davening. Because when we daven, we're losing a little bit of our feelings that we're having for Hashem when we daven. That's when we need to ask God, please God, may that find favor before you, those feelings, okay? Cook said, okay, so wow, okay. Besides the fact that like everyone tells us like what you do is important, da-da-da, and da-da-da, your actions, da-da-da-da-da, so Rav Kook's saying that's not true, okay? So whatever. And then he says similar to this, I like it, so I have to say it. It says that God took us out with a strong hand and with an outstretched arm. So Yad Chazak Zeh. The hand is the action. The hand symbolizes the action. V'zra, and the arm is the koach. This is the potential. Okay. Hayad Metzianes es ha'pu'ula. So the hand like shows what. Pula hazra, it shows what the action is. Hazra ina oisa ba'atzma pula. The arm doesn't actually do anything. Ela no sense is the koach biad lasus. It allows the potential to come into being. The gashmias hapula chashuvim mekoach in gashmias hapula chashuvim mekoach. In the physical world, the action is more important than the potential. So what we said before, but in ruchnis and spirituality, the potential is more important. Skip a little bit to the next page. you see the first sentence in the paragraph. "Lachein anu amrim b'tefillah Goel Yisrael." Therefore, we say every day, Goel Yisrael, that God is redeeming us. Not He redeemed us. We say He's redeeming us. In Shemona Esrei Lashon Hoveh, in the present tense. Why? Kol etzahu emtseva in matara. Lachein en amuka. So anything that someone tries to help you with, that doesn't have like an end to it, that doesn't have a final say in it, that's not deep in our eyes. Okay, someone tells you something to help you out, and you don't follow through with it. That's like not important in our eyes. Ha'etza shel Hashem, but when God gives us something, even if there isn't that, there's a goal in it itself. If He gives us a ha'ara, if He gives us something, an inspiration, that itself is a redemption. That's a Goel Yisrael. That's why we say Goel Yisrael. God is constantly redeeming us. Because even if we're not in Israel, and we haven't gotten to the place of Geula, etc., and to that final action of Geula, the fact He's giving us some sort of inspiration, some help, that itself is considered a Geula in itself. Okay? And that's part of what Rav Kook is saying in general, which is that in spirituality, actually the potential and the desire for something is greater than the final act. Okay? And in his journals, he has this Gewalt thing that he says about dreaming, and which is about potential and desire, etc. Okay? So check it out. And this is what I think Judah was saying before, basically. Hachomim, the dreamers, Hagdolim, the great dreamers, Yisod HaOlamim, they are the foundation of the world. Chomim Heim HaNavim, the prophets were dreamers. As it says in Bamidbar that God speaks to the prophets in a dream. Chomim Heim Mishorim B'Hakitz, the great poets, the singers, they're dreaming while they're awake. Chomim Ba'alei Machshav Hagdolim Etikun Olam, the great thinkers of the world, they're dreaming of a better world. And I don't think he's thinking about like the Yisrael. He's thinking about any philosopher who wanted, any person in the world who thought of a world better than what they saw, right? They were dreamers. Okay?
Luther King was a dreamer.
He had a dream.
It came true.
Exactly, it came true. And now, exactly. And they are the foundation of the world, Rav Kook says, the dreamers. All of us are dreaming to God will bring us back to Zion. We say before on Shabbos, right? We were like dreamers. But what? The coarseness of of the world, of society. Of a society that's completely engrossed in physicality. They're taking away the light of the dream from the world. It's Zohar Har Chavashalo, the glimmer and the light of its widening. Of its awesomeness. Until the world is like in pain from the stinging of the poison of Mitziyud Chasr Zohar Cholam, of a world without dreams. You hear what he's saying? There are people in the world who are telling you, like, this is the way the world is, and that's it. And he's saying that's like, those people are like stinging us with poison, bringing so much pain to the world because they're taking away the possibility of dreaming. Okay? And what we're saying in here, that's Amalek. Okay? And that's Haman. Okay? They're just sleeping. They're bad. There's nothing there.
Status quo. It's
yes.
Now.
Exactly. Okay? But what this pain that we experience when all these people try to tell us this, which we see every day, no one needs to remind us about it. It's a pain of love. How is that? That they're actually cleansing the world. Because they're showing us how stupid reality can be. When they keep on telling us like not to dream and this is the way it is, the more stupid reality looks. Okay, the more and more they try to tell us these things, the more we're pushed to dream even more. That's what Rav Kook says. And what does that cause? That there'll be a complete free dream, like an independent dream, that will completely rebel against the reality and its and its boundaries, which is the true reality of the world, and that's when the vision of the dream will be clear. And that's when we'll see God face to face, when we fulfill that. Okay? So what is he saying again? So much. He's saying so much. So it's the dreamers who fix the world, and it's the people who are telling us not to dream who are really pushing us to see even a clearer dream, to force us to make it into reality. Okay, so if that's what Amalek's doing, then that's pushing us to even be like, all right, I'm not a Yid, I'm not so good. Gewalt. I could still ask God for Kol Tor Kula Tor Shpapeh.
How do we see Amalek be the anti-dream?
I think, the way I'm trying to frame it is that he's saying that if the reality is you're not doing mitzvos and God hasn't taken you back, then the facts on the ground would state that the Jewish people as a project is over.
Which is what Haman says.
Yes.
He was like, you're just asleep.
Yeah, you're just asleep.
Yeah.
But what do we know? We know that when you're sleeping, you're dreaming. That's what we know. We know you're dreaming, and in a dream, anything's possible. And anything can become true. Okay?
It's like those people who... you can like study it and go to weird clinics where you eventually control your dreams and you're like in a lucid state within them.
Yeah.
And they do anything. They're like superheroes in their dreams. They fly around and basically do that.
I tried doing that, actually. There was like a whole process to do it.
You read like that article about it. It's like, oh, this sounds amazing.
Yeah.
But then,
it's too much work. Lucid dreaming.
Oh, like that movie.
Vanilla Sky.
Yeah.
Oh.
Vanilla Sky?
Inception.
Yeah.
You gave me Vanilla Sky and Yeshiva's Gewalt movie.
Oh, movie.
Super intense movie.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
See it.
But lucid dreaming, super real.
Yeah.
You're out, bro?
Yeah, we're doing 5.
Alright.
Let's get this one. Take care.
We can do this now. Stay.
Put on,
What?
just put on the source sheet.
Yeah,
Next
that's
time.
true. Well, the sources will be linked to it on the website. Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah. I have the script. I did this
It's
so we
so
can
good.
collaborate.
Okay.
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 You're setting you up with your own subway.
Alright.
Yeah.
Totally get this shit together.
From someone who does not have any of his,
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's go in for the home stretch. We can do this. All right. Is it even worth going further?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. It is. Yeah. Right, so if Haman's whole taina is that they're sleeping, and there's nothing to sleeping, right, then in a sense he's saying, right, there's no, dreams are
Right. Sleep is
useless.
I was trying to think like how that.
All you are is vulnerable. Yeah.
Like Amalek attacking us. Like I guess.
You know what it is? It's like, I think it's what it is. It's like the Jewish people, when they left Egypt, they came out like, not in reality. They came out with like all these plagues and all this stuff and all the nisim and flows, and it doesn't look like reality. And when they're like, relax,
Wake up.
yeah, you're not in this big cloud. We can beat you up. We can get you. Stop being so like lofty. I'm so holy right now.
Get real. Get a job.
Yeah, exactly. yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
You haven't been slaves for 2 weeks. What have you been doing?
Right, it's like, can we, and really, like, that's what, I just, 5 minutes on Purim, like 5 minutes on Purim, someone being like, so what are you doing next year? Like, what's the long-term plan?
It's the same way at a fiction. Like, nobody asks you what you do.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
It's like all like in the present.
Yeah.
Like no one's asking these like bigger questions.
You just talk to people in a set break like they're human beings, not like they're like a functional like robot who will give you something.
It's rude to ask what you do.
Yes.
At a certain point.
I agree. Yeah. Asher korcha b'darach. Relax. Chill out. Yeah.
Whatever happens along the way.
Okay, good.
They were on their long, strange trip, and I'm like, just like, no. What does that mean?
Yeah, right. Well, what's going on the trip? What are you doing on the trip? Yeah. Yeah. Esther minute 39. All right. We gotta do this. Where's Esther from in the Torah? Shneimar v'anochi aster. It says the Gemara, and I will hide myself. Inyan Hester hishiv me Haman. So there was a big Hester, there was a big hiding in the time of Haman. Isa ba'ariya kadosh shaya inyan tardema. Ari says, what was it like in the times of Purim? He says it's like the tardema of Haschal Sabriya of Adam Harishon. That what? Adam Harishon by Palashim Elokim tardema. That before Chava was created, God made Adam fall asleep. Okay? And this is the same thing of Purim. This is what Arizal says. And then God brought the side to Adam. And only after at that point, that's when the full idea of creation was created, only after that nap. You know?
Surgery.
Yeah, after the surgery. Right, put him out and anesthetize him. Yeah. Oh, you started me on this. Yeah.
Finish it.
There's some story with like Simcha Bunim that like someone needed like a prescription for something and like he smoked him out. Whatever, it's a long story. Okay, it was because right he needed like a tikkun, so like he needed to give him prescription, some anesthesia to get through like whatever. Okay, anyway, it and once the full creation is created, then there is a world and there is a place for the Shefa of God to come. Okay. So what is that life force that's inside of us, that's inside of Adam HaRishon and the Jewish people during the Tardema? Before the vessel is created. Adam is not complete yet. Chava is not there. So what is that light that's giving him light? Okay. Sorry. So that thing, that life force that's giving itself to us when we're sleeping and before we're done, before the complete creation is created, is an or that's beyond, that is completely without boundary. Next page. But once it is a kli, right? Then it can only accept the light that it already has. Rak Orishan is batel, and that first light is gone, right? Because when we are a vessel in something, when we're on and we're trying to do something, we're trying to be right. So right, we have a potential that we're trying to fulfill. So that potential could only be as big as the action we're trying to fulfill. Okay, but beforehand, right? When we're just in the state before we're created. There's no action involved. There's no complete creation, so we could accept the greatest endless light. Okay, that's what the Sod Yesharim says. And then we get another light after. Okay, that's smaller than the light we had before, in order to fulfill the purpose of the kli. And then after the created and after everything, then they realize they're naked and they need kosnos or they need a new light. Okay? It says also in Kabbalah's Torah Sinai Kasav Ariya Kadosh. Ariya also says Shaya Inyan Tardema. He says the same thing. By Har Sinai we also fell asleep. Kmosh says the Medrash says Sheina Shalatzeres Areva. As it says in the Medrash that sleeping during the time of Shavuos, it was very nice. It was very nice outside, so Am Yisrael slept. So what Rav Shemaiah, as I mentioned before, was saying like that was a good thing, because we were able to accept a Torah that was without end, without any specific law. It was completely infinite. We wake up, now we have the Torah that's in a kli. But while we're sleeping, we get the infinite Torah. Okay. Same thing with the time of Haman, that we were sleeping, and it was the time of Hester. Kedisa Medrash as Haman said, their God is sleeping. Only later on in Megillah does it says does it say that Esther got a clothing of Malchus, because beforehand she didn't have it. Okay, it was only after the Purim story happens that she's possible to get this special clothing. This is all the same thing what happened in the Garden of Eden. So this is like, to sum it all up, there's this great Hester in the world of the time of Haman, until Haman, meaning the world, Haman is saying the world was saying that God is sleeping. And that was the vibe, that was the essence of what was going on. So at that point, so our whole existence at that point, it just came from a love that God loved us for no reason whatsoever. But right on the outside, it looked like we had nothing to show for ourselves. So it's only then that this eternal love is aroused. And he says, even Mordechai, who didn't bow down to Haman, he didn't even have like a reason for not bowing down. He felt that God loved him. He couldn't understand this love. And the world didn't understand either why he wasn't bowing down. There's no point to it. He couldn't. It was a love that was so beyond comprehension. Only afterwards, it says that the remembrance of Purim will not be forgotten. So afterwards, we have a memory of what happened during that time, which is the light of which comes after Purim. Okay. But even in kol zeh, however, still, but still, when this time of Purim comes around again, this concept is aroused again, which is a love that's without boundaries. What he's getting to, what I believe he's saying, is like, so when we're drunk on Purim and we're in that state of complete Hester, so at that point we have nothing to show for ourselves. We're sleeping. To us, from our perspective, also it seems like God doesn't care about us because we're idiots. It's only then that we can be filled with an eternal love of God that's for without reason or cause or anything. That's the only thing that we can accept at that time. And after Purim, we accept a new light that we didn't have before, but it's smaller than the light we experienced at the Suda and at the time of that Hester itself. Okay.
It's also without mitzvah. Like you can't do a mitzvah while you're sleeping.
That's right. And whatever mitzvah you perform when you're drunk is not. It doesn't really count, in a sense.
So it's like.
Yeah.
I mean, it's always connecting at a level that's like bypassing the mitzvah.
Yeah, as well as the Averas too.
It's like unconditional.
Yeah. Right.
That's cool.
Averas too. It's brought in the Gemara and the Rambam, like basically codifies like you're shikar kalot, like you're not chayav for an Avera you've done. It's like, oh great, you know.
except for getting that drunk.
Right.
Because when you did that, you weren't.
Right. But like it's mechuyev to us at this point to do this in order to get to that light. Right. Okay. So to wrap it up, I wanted to say this in Yiddish, but I didn't have time to finish translating it. So we might have to say it in English. But since it's in English, we can have someone else read it, and it's great. You know what? I'm going to read it. Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be a higher level if we don't understand it.
Mm-hmm.
It's true. Last year I retweeted people in languages I just didn't understand on Purim. That was like my only kiyum on Purim of not understanding something. Like people in French and Russian and whatever.
Was it about Purim?
You like
yeah,
wrote
I
sentences
only
and
followed the
translated it?
hashtag
Hashtag
Purim.
Purim. That's smart.
And it was
that's
like
awesome.
any language I didn't get, so I just retweeted. I happen to get a lot of like foreign followers. Also,
That's great.
Yeah. Just sticking around. I mean,
They're probably
they
like,
think
oh,
I
he
thought.
speaks
Yeah,
French.
they think I thought. Yeah, whatever.
Awesome. Yeah.
I'm an idiot.
Yeah. I suppose in that's the light of the dream as well. I forgot to connect that. Or that when you're not complete, and you're in that place of not completion, as he was saying, before the binyan is created, and you're just asleep, or before we get the Torah, etc., before we're actualizing what we're trying to do. So we have an or bli sof, and maybe that's why we dream. That we can have like a moment of nevuah while we're dreaming.
Also,
Okay.
something that I thought was interesting in terms of the biology of
Yeah.
dreaming is I forgot the exact chemical that the brain induces when you dream, but it allows you to not move, meaning you could really die. And there are obviously people who have sleeping disorders that they actually do sleepwalk, and it's even diagnosable in like the DSM
Oh wow.
for people who move a lot more than the average person because it's a chemical imbalance. But the thing that is not impacted by the chemical imbalance that I think is a very beautiful idea is the mouth, is peh, and which is, we know that the peh is malchut, right? It's so like it's very much fitting with all the things that we're speaking about. Is that like when you're sleeping, the only thing that's not restricted by this chemical is your speech, and that's why sometimes people talk while they sleep. So it's interesting.
Yeah. I heard some crazy stuff from a friend of mine who used to, someone we know, who used to talk in his sleep. It doesn't make any sense. Like, it's just like completely gibberish.
Yeah.
Like speaking in tongues.
Yeah. Yeah. And Rav Yal said on a chug maybe like 8 years ago, he said, you know what Torah Shebal Peh is? It's the gibberish you speak when you're drunk on Purim. So that is the Torah Shebal Peh. Which is exactly what we've been saying for the last hour, basically. Okay, anyway. This last piece of Bach Yitzchak, and it's late, a few years ago at the Purim celebration, you see, that's why the Yiddish is better, because in the Yiddish he says, he's, you don't have to flip back if you don't know about it. Masivas from Mishta Yain to Purim. He says when we're drinking wine on Purim. Here's like the Purim celebration. All right. It takes it down a little. We discussed the fact that there are two levels of drinking. A lower level and a higher level. At that time, we discussed the first, lower level, and we promised afterwards to explain the higher level. Prior to examining the higher level, we must first examine again the lower level. Okay. Two friends were yeshiva study partners together during their youth. What?
It's great.
Yeah.
You really want to say it in Yiddish.
I do.
Just say it in Yiddish. We'll follow along here.
Yeah, but it's hard.
It's good. This is good.
Zusammen mit Alligator,
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
I know, yeah.
Yeah.
I know what Suzanne is. That's about it.
They were extremely close in every way. Many years passed. One day they both left yeshiva, and each went his own way. One went in one direction, the other in another. One day they accidentally bumped into each other in a faraway land. Did anyone ever read this before, by the way? Anyone?
No, but it sounds like
Okay, this is really cool.
The symbol and the simpleton and the
Prince of the Pauper.
Rabbi Nachman's story. What's it called again?
All right.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Cliff Paul and Chris.
Okay, so these two chaverim, they loved each other so much. They lived in yeshiva.
Chris Paul and Cliff.
It was the best, and they went on their own way. Okay, and they accidentally bumped into each other in a faraway land. Okay,